we're really curious about preserving this park, we've got to perhaps carry out controlled burning in limited areas.
Well, based on your fire history studies, how often is the sequence of relatively large fires and severe fire conditions?
Well, it seems like not much more than, you don't get the right conditions more than once or twice in a century. So when you look at how much material we have down on the ground now from the fire in 1880, it's kind of hard to imagine what the forests around here will look like 500 years from now if we continue to try to put out all fires.
Have you got water in the cabins yet?
Well, this stone gun right there on that corner is overflowing, and if it continues to rise, we're going to have the cabins down at Wilson or someplace like that.
Well, I think we can help you a little here by cutting these trees and dropping them into this turn here in the river.
Don. Hey!
3 or 4 more feet. 3 or 4 more feet. 3 or 4 more feet.
But the dike, of course, is gone, and the other revetment we put in while being effective is not facing the stream enough to hold the water in the channel, so we have to cut and lay some more timber above. All the trees you're taking, though, are doomed anyway if this wash continues.
That's right. They're all in the path of this channel that may be cut by the river there.
Here we are in a national park, and we're talking about the trees that we're going to lose. So we cut them to try to stop a river, and yet if there's anything that ought to be left alone, it's that river. And yet, from a moral standpoint, we'd say we got to do something. But in the philosophy of the park, we'd have to say that man violated the natural forces when he located it. And that what we're trying to do is, it's like a forest fire sometimes. The fire builds up enough momentum that we can't do anything to stop it. It'll go. And that river's another force just like it.
Spectacular spring. There'll be no problem with filling the lake this year, will there?
No, that's the least of our worries.
What year was this dam built anyway, Ken? Do you remember?
Well, actually the present structure was finished at this height in 1915, but they started the dam here in actually 1905 and 1906.
Well, this is one of the first reclamation projects in this whole area, wasn't it?
Yes, in fact, it's one of the earlier ones in the West.
Is it?
Pete, how's fishing, well, just in the last couple of years compared to, say, even 10 years ago?
Well, just in this part of the river, on a typical summer day, there'll be 100 to 150 anglers anytime you look at it, and they keep turning over all the time. And the fishing in this area has really gone downhill, and this is really the reason why. It's not particularly reflect the operation of the dam, or because fishing was good when the dam was here years ago?
That was before we planted it and had all the technology where we actually saving fish now by the operation.
It's true, but you never would find more than 20 or 30 people here except on opening day.
That's right. Many people using the river and the highways and everything else there is now. It just can't believe it. And to think it might continue to grow is it's scary, in fact. I guess out here we don't even notice it yet. We're out here in what they call the stick.
Getting off that elk refuge, getting out on some green grass.
Oh, don't you know it. They were streaming out across that flat last night. Must have been 1,000 of them strung out through there.
God, this time of year, there's elk over here everywhere.
Yeah?
Won't be long now, a couple of weeks, I guess, till it'll be calving. You know, from down here on the valley floor, you really get an idea of how thick the lodge pole stands are around the valley. So you think about our Smoky the Bear fire programs we've maintained on these forests.
Well, I don't think they've been real good for it, John. Some of these places around here, they've gotten such an accumulation of litter built up that if they get a fire started now, it's going to burn the soil along with everything else.
Old Mother Nature sure did her a different way, I bet.
Well, yeah, but we never have been quite willing to admit that she was smarter than we were.
Well, looks like it'd be a good one for what we want here, Lloyd. We're going in and doing it.
Yeah, these lodge poles are pretty good.
That's a good one. Just about in the center, not quite center.
Couldn't quite get to the center. So this is about 66 years. The fire was 1890. About what you'd expect.
It's going to have to be stimulated by fire again if, in fact, we want some reproduction on this aspen.
Yeah, I think, and this is an area that I think it would be feasible to let a natural fire go, but the tremendous vista of the Tetons is marred by a burn. The photographer doesn't like this, and politically it certainly won't go over very well at first. Sure of that. There's not much that's aesthetically attractive about a recent burn.
No, there sure isn't.
And 50 years afterwards, it's just really nice.
Beautiful.
That's what the people like. They like it 50 years after the fire.
Yeah.
We simply are not going to get this point across if we wait for that person to arrive at the park gate.
Mm-hmm.
When you come into a park, you accept this at least somewhat different lifestyle, way of life, that places lower demands on the natural environment. So we have to get this understanding back home, that when he comes to a national park, you know, it's a totally different experience.
Yeah. Well, we all have pretty strong feelings, I think, about
okay,
that.
how do you go about convincing people that, in fact, and I'm not speaking for the group, I'm just speaking for myself, but in fact, man is an arrogant bastard. That's the source of the problem. He thinks he owns this planet. He thinks he has a right to do any damn thing he pleases here, and he resents it when nature talks back.
He's not doing an awful lot of good now. All he's doing is just trying to keep it from spotting quite so bad along the edges to slow it down some. Try to hold this line right down through here tonight to keep it from going back that way. That'll be about it. Oh, yeah, look at them all over there. God, it is on the other side.
I think we're going to go up the hill.
Bam! Hey, did you see it's on the other side now? You can see that? Yeah, I know. Jesus!
What happened was that this newsman come along to some pogue sitting out there on the ground, you know, dirt all over him, and says, when do you guys expect control, Miss GS2 or whatever he was? I don't know, probably Canada, which was like 30 miles north.
We're supposed to be down in the middle as far as political things go. This kind
Workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains.
So far, it's as much as a habitat as anything else.
Wow.
Build the line down here.
Better run!
Go throw some dirt on that, Studs.
Huh?
Go throw some dirt on it.
Right.
Having a good time. You ever see a view like that? That's the one thing you don't have in either Minnesota, Wisconsin, or California. I did. The only climbing I ever did that I remember. You've ever been to Grand Canyon? Who's been to Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I've been
Well, you know, at the Grand Canyon south rim, there's you can hike from the south rim of the canyon down to the river. It's 7 miles down. 7 miles down, and you go down a mile. Well, I hiked down when I was a little older than you were, not much. Yeah, but telling you coming back was terrible. You thought I'd die. Well, I got to go catch a plane to Dallas now. So. All right, nice to see you. We're going to really Thank you. Nice to see you. Thank you. Bye. There you go. All right, come on. Okay. Hi. Thank you, sir. Wearing a hat to avoid that sun.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson. I'm gonna mess around. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson. Look out, Jackson Town.
Well, go on down to Jackson. Go ahead and wreck your health. Go play your hand, you big talking man. Make a big fool of yourself. Yeah, go to Jackson. But go comb that hair.
I'm gonna snowball Jackson.
Go ahead and see if I care.
When I breeze into that city, people gonna stoop and bow. All them women gonna make me teach them what they don't know how. I'm going to Jackson. You turn a loose of my coat, 'cause I'm going to Jackson.
Goodbye, that's all she wrote.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. Go to Jackson, and that's a natural fact. We're going to Jackson, ain't never coming back. We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson.
Jesus, you know how many times I've thrown this fly in so many creeks in 3 states.
fishing any worse here than anywhere else.
Better, we caught 2 fish here. Okay, I'd like to measure those fish and get some scale samples if we could.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bad at all.
Oh, 13 and a half inches almost. Let's get those things to come loose. There we go.
Fishing's been a little bad here, huh?
It's been pretty poor, I'll tell you. These are the largest fish I've seen today. I've talked to probably a dozen anglers. And in the main, 9-10 inches is about what you see.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, 6 years ago, I floated there and took, 4 or 5 pounders.
I agree. I mean, this is documented.
You really think the fishing pressure could really take that many fish out of the place?
It can. It can. As big as this river is and as short as the fishing season is, each year it keeps going downhill, and there's, I don't know, seems to be no particular change in the habitat or environment. We get no pollution, no major diversions. It's just like it was 20, 30 years ago.
Geez, it's beautiful water. There should be a lot of fish right out there.
Yeah.
$1.55 a tack.
Next to this Montana. We have Jackson Hole sank, and the Teton Range rose. And as time went on, the glaciers and erosion came down the canyons and gouged them out. And so you have all these canyons which are now deeply gouged, and the front is back several miles from the original Teton Fault. It was essentially a straight line through here.
And the lodge company starts at Jackson Lake Lodge, so you might want to contact them and find out about their trip.
Probably this is all I need.
I'll add this up for you.
But this will give you a good idea of the geology of the area, and is a big help. It's written in layman's terms, however, it's accurate, written by Dr. Love and also Dr. Reed.
How much is that?
These are $2.06 tax.
It's another really beautiful day, Steve. How many more will it take, if anything?
No, I think 3 or 4 days. If the weather stays like this, we should be done. But we'll still have time to go for a few days for the kids.
You know the avalanche that we saw last year up on Bacon Creek? Do you suppose that the airplanes are starting those? It wiped out so much timber.
Yeah, I know Dr. McLeod thinks that a lot of our avalanches are caused by sonic booms down in Granite. But there does seem to be more of them all the time. I guess that's a sign of progress, huh?
Eventually, we may have to make the entire backcountry closed to campfires. The reason for this is not to impair anyone's enjoyment of the backcountry, but simply that there's no firewood left.
You're going to just take your campfire with you, and
yeah,
you can't tell me that the old-timers around here, they're not going to say, yeah, well, let's go up and take our Coleman stove and have a wilderness experience. We can look at all the animals and
Okay, well,
have a real big wilderness experience.
It's
You know, for the
It's not one
New York
fire.
dudes, it's all right.
It's not one campfire. It's thousands and thousands of campfires.
It's pretty hard to see where you're going when you haven't got a tree up there. Now that's one problem with Rendezvous Bowl up here. When you ski up there, and when the visibility's like it is today, it's pretty hard to see what's going on. Because there aren't any trees up. You're above timberline. It's over 6,000 feet between towers.
6,000 feet? Over a mile?
It's over a mile.
But these two cables that support about 1.5, 1.25 fully loaded 747s. Gives you an idea of the built-in safety factors.
And all of this is where the hotels will be. The convention site is right here.
Can you show me from here where the airport is?
Yes. Right in the shadow of that cloud. If you look carefully, you'll see the runway running north and south there. Can you see it?
Yes. Too bad there isn't a road that could lead right
Well,
there
there,
from the
there
village.
will be. It's going to go right around the south end.
Can a jet land on that airstrip, or is it too short?
Well, 747s have landed there, but
That's,
it's
727.
what did I say?
747.
727 landed there.
The executive jets go in.
There's so much to see here.
You haven't been in the hotels yet either. We want to take time sometime to go and see all of it.
Are your offices in the tower?
Yeah, right there where the little windows are.
We can all hear the feet of the skiers. I thought that you'd be above that, Alex, but I noticed in our meeting the other day we could hear them all
You can hear them
coming.
rumbling on the deck.
Well, the sound of skiers' feet, that's revenue in our ears.
Howdy. How an ugly old fellow like you get such a good looking?
I must have something to do with the other half. She's supposed to be taking a nap.
How old is she?
Just about 2.
Yeah, she's cute.
Well, this is the thing. In this park, you can work on unmolested coyotes where you don't get them in the rest of the state. They're hunted, they're shot at, and you can't approach them, you can't see them from the air. You know that yourself.
Are they a little quieter right now?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. Boy, they were sure making a racket, say 2 or 3 weeks ago. By the ranch, you could hear them all. They come in right above the cabins. There's one right above the cabins and yip right during the day, just yip and yip and yip.
Down the refuge, I found a real significant drop-off in barking. It seems to be correlated down there with denning, but I don't know. And just about all over, I haven't heard much barking. But now in the last week, or just about 2 weeks, it's starting to come up again. I think this might correlate some with the emergence of the pups starting to spread out a little more. And as a communication, this would be valuable if the pups start spreading out even over 100 yards in this stage.
They're sure an exciting species to watch. It's amazing. You have coyotes have been written about and sang about for so many years, and it's just another one of the species that we know so little about.
I think there's a lot of subtleties involved with this stuff that has to be worked out before you can instigate a good management policy. Of course, in the park, you're really not thinking management so much as trying to establish and maintain pristine conditions, but you still have to determine what that is or what it was.
That's quite a challenge. Maybe the only species we know anything even a little about is the white laboratory rat and the human being.
And he doesn't have a chance anymore, neither one of them.
We don't know much about those.
But them pups must still be in this den. I can't see him. That sage is about 3 feet high out there.
So it's male or female?
No, I can't tell from here. You should still be able to tell, I think, because the female has just quit nursing and that'll show up yet.
Has just quit?
Yeah, about a week ago probably. I suppose now it would be impossible to get the pups out of there because they're barking like that. Oh, there it is. Oh, they're great to watch. He's really upset.
Are they going to make it harder to coax them out of there?
I don't know. That'd be interesting. Sitting there barking. No, there's no ear tags in it. I'm pretty sure the tagged one is the male, and this would be the female one, probably. Tell she's really giving us the eye. Ah, there's another one. That one's way down there somewhere. Just hold this in. We'll roll this out.
You are going to hold that in, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to work or not.
This is the X4 Scientific
cow sufferer.
At least when I'm unemployed, I won't be able to say that I'm an unemployed digital analysis, multi-digital analysis system, something. The good thing that's got going for it, it's only got one moving part.
You?
Yeah. I can hear him thumping around here. I'm pushing one, I think. Oh! You got it? You got me. Oh!
Who's got gloves?
Did you get your bag?
No. What is that, a female?
It's a male.
Yeah, oh yeah. How old do you figure he is?
8 to 9 weeks.
8 to 9 weeks, huh?
Probably look at those teeth. You see why they can bite? Sharp little man, like needles. Okay, let's get that ear clip so we can... I don't know, maybe I can see good enough, but I'm cutting the hair off.
Yeah, not too bad.
Doesn't look too bad. I like to keep that point back.
Amazing.
Not a
There's
flinch.
supposed to be no innervation whatsoever in there. I don't understand it.
Not a flinch. And no blood either, the way it looks. I think if we get a little of this hair away, if it does bleed, it'll help and clean it up.
I don't see any at all over here.
None. I've had more problem with the adults. I don't know if there's a... You think it would be... Whoops. It would be the other way around. Good, now this is the one that... I gotta literally punch a little hole in his ear. He doesn't like that. So there's not even a trace of blood on that. Now he's tagged. Now if he gets away, he's at least... There we go, number 20.
Okay, take off. Feels the weights in his ear.